Welcome back to the channel, part 3 of the Ducks project, and this is only phase 1. We've got lots more building to go. Today I'm going to fill in this area here, and I just thought I'd put a couple of market stalls in. Pretty straightforward little build here. Once we do that, we'll work on the public house, which is up to the right, the far end there, and that should do it for today's episode. So I'm going to use a couple of these shack roofs for these market stalls. I want to have these fairly simple in their design, and I want them to be an outside kind of market feel about them. So I start off with these shack roofs here. You see they nicely clip to the building in front of us there. Just a case, very simple design. Put some posts underneath the corners, just like that. And the same on here. So I'm outside the boundary there, so I'm going to have to put them down and clip them in using place anywhere. We're right on the edge of the boundary there, that's why they won't place. I'll go green, cool. Another one there. And it's a pretty simple design, and I've been looking at a fair few kind of really old worldly kind of Middle Eastern markets lately, and thinking on what we can do a little bit differently for the market stalls. And this is what I kind of come up with. So we're going to go into vanilla extensions and get these cloth pieces, and these will act as walls, so that can fit in there nicely. Add in there. Now they sit, for some reason when I clip them, they sit a little bit high. I need to pull them down a little bit. So it's strange how obviously the boundary is not straight there. Just like that. And it makes a natural boundary or a natural wall. And you've seen me do this before in quick builds when I built the tents. So while I was in here, I don't know why I don't like those roofs, but I tend to favour these ones from vanilla extensions a bit more. So I'm going to change these roofs out very quickly, and those posts, they'll snap straight onto those posts just like that. I don't know, they just look a little bit nicer. The only problem is this is what it causes another problem, in that these posts are now too short. So I'm going to have to change those over. And given you've seen that already, I don't know, it's not going to let you sit through all that. They are a little bit longer, a little bit too long, but that's okay. I can live with that. That's fine. That one that we're looking at needs to just be pushed a little bit further in. And I'm thinking about using these frontages just to give it this kind of different look. That's okay, that's fine. In fact, I probably don't need that post now. That probably addresses that. So this one will become kind of a vendor who's selling fish and seafood. And I think what I'm going to do with the second one is I've just got some recent new items from Creative Clutter, so I might make this into an artist studio. There we go, it just clips right into there. Yeah, that's not quite the right height, but we'll fix that up as we go. A bit tricky this one, it tends to want to snap both ways, so just skipping ahead a little bit, we're going to put those cloth walls in there and there, again just to create that barrier, natural little barrier. If it wants to clip in there anytime today would be nice. And I think this is where I figure out that it looks just a little bit high compared to the background. This red one's quite nice. So these are great. The vanilla extensions, I think USO has these now. They're great little barriers. It is fighting me slightly, so we need to troubleshoot that. Those ropes that I was trying before, I didn't show you me putting them in, they were just not working. I realised that's a full canter, so I'm going to need the door. So I'm going to go to one of my favourite mods, Thematic and Practical, because they have these single door pieces here like that. Push that across a bit. Seems like I'm having one of those days when everything wants to fight me today. Anyway, sometimes it's easier just to drop it down and then push it across like that. Don't know why. I put a door in here and then realise I don't need it, but anyway. Because there's an open section there. And I'm really just improvising here. Just put that in there. Because you can make these however you like. But I really didn't want to get stuck on putting dedicated walls in these. I wanted them to have a really open look and feel about them. So a little bit of a gap there, which I'll fill with these beams here. Same on that side. That one's not as bad. And we're pretty much done there. Maybe I'll figure out I don't need that door now, and that's exactly what's happened. So we'll just put this double one in, that one there, and good. And we're done. All we need to do now is decorate those. Pull that down slightly. See, that was just sitting a little bit too high for some reason. Just reposition them. Well, it should snap into place, which it's not. It's that one. It's giving me problems all day. So place anywhere again. You'll do the anti-shimmer trick, and then we should be done. So one little last thing, we're just going to put a set of railings in here, just so you don't fall over the edge there. So these railings are good again, right on the boundary. Everything kind of at that point I have to drop down somewhere and put it in with place anywhere. Now if you keep an eye out, tomorrow we'll do a full mod review on the channel tomorrow on Place Anywhere. Sorry, so it's probably one of my most used mods and one of my favourite mods at the moment. Look out for that review, and if you need to know how to expand how you use Place Anywhere apart from just what I'm using it for now, keep an eye out. Now this part of the build was done earlier, but I thought it was important to leave it in and show you how I achieved this. So one of the issues I had is the boardwalk down below. I want to do some building or some decoration on, and it was too low, so I needed to raise the floor up. So to do that, I came up with this idea of just putting a little ramp in there, and you can get ramps from various other mods. It just helps you to raise up the floor. Of course, the biggest issue you're going to have is you've got to find some pieces or items that will fill in that gap there in front of us as you raise it up. But I use some railing pieces just to fill in that gap, and we'll just put that one down in there. And this is where the tavern's going to sit, and we're going to start building the tavern in a while. Yeah, so but I did want to have a little level, a transitional level down to the bridge, because I will be building around the bridge. I'm not going to ruin the surprise too much. So this sits perfectly and works out perfectly for that little island that we can see in front of us. So we're just going to drop these down, and the issue that I had was the height, or more precisely the headroom underneath the pier here was a little bit too low. I couldn't fit under it, so hence why I had to raise that platform up above. And I will be doing, and I'll do some nice little decoration down here, and I do change these floors out because it does give me some issues, but I'm not going to bore you with that. See, I've added some filler boards in there just to fill up that gap. I'm only going to do part of the build for the pub here, and then we'll finish up the video. The second half of the pub, the roof fought me like you wouldn't believe. I had several iterations of the roof before I got it right. So we'll show you some progress today, and then we'll come back in the next episode and show you the completion. So I'm using these structures from Workshop Rearranged, very much in keeping, and you would have seen this look before. Now this is based loosely on the inn, tavern, pub, whatever you want to call it, from Far Harbour, and with a little bit of a twist. So I wanted to have a little bit of a entranceway. We're going to use these roofs here, and then we're going to change it and face it 90 degrees the other way. You'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. Now, I was struggling to find the end pieces for this, and then I realised that in Workshop Rearranged, it actually has these pieces with the end piece built in like that. You can see the triangle is there. So there you go, that's a good starting point. Now I'm going to switch to Snappy House Kits for the remainder of the build with the walls. I'm going to move the door across one, just like that. My apologies for the weird noises that are happening, but unfortunately I was having another one of the cola cubes. For my UK viewers, you will know exactly what a cola cube is. It's like a boiled sweet. Bit of a lolly, bit of a candy for my US, North American viewers. Very nice. So we're going to use the red walls for this, and one of the things that I've found with Snappy House Kits that I don't quite get is you'll find the right wall for you, but for some reason the wallpaper won't match, and so it's a bit of a struggle the way that they've got it ordered sometimes, but it's only a minor point. This red building really does work well with everything else in the overall look, because it's a little bit faded. Those walls are a little bit faded. This was obviously in between the join there, so for some reason it didn't want to sit there properly, so it took me a while just to get it in. And these are pretty easy, these kits, to put together. So I'm going to go and have a look at the site and just make sure that everything is looking okay, and I think that all works with the red roof and various other things. I think that all works very nicely. There are some gaps there on the edges, but this kit does give you end pieces to fill those gaps, so it's not too bad. And our bar will go in this corner here, and when we should be done. So you have those half pieces as well. Just trying to match all the wallpaper up as much as possible, and then we can get on to doing the roof. And what I ended up doing is I ended up putting an open area up the top for the and making a little bit of a roof garden or area to drink upstairs. So you can see you've got these little end caps here that just sit nicely on the edge. They can be a little bit finicky. Once you figure out how they should sit, they work perfectly. There should be one in there, and so you just go around and clip them all in. To do this though, you really should do this on the outside, not the inside, because you can't see them properly. So there's one there, so that can just sit in there, but it's better to do them from the outside. There we go. And it's a nice little finish to the build. White and red, it all kind of works nicely. There we go. Run outside, round the corner. So the struggle starts with the roof. So this is, I've cut out a whole lot of this, and you'll see that I'll get rid of this in a sec. Because I haven't done too many roofs with Snappy House Kits, it took a long time for me to figure out, so I'm not going to bore you with all that. We're just going to put some flooring in, or some roofs, whatever you want to call them, and pretty much finish up for the day. So these thin ones are nice, they should just all snap in nicely. And that will do for this episode, and we'll come back and complete the pub, and we'll start on some of the stuff, some of the building close to the bridge next. So I hope you've enjoyed this latest segment on the Ducks project. Things are really coming together nicely in this build, and we will catch you next time. See ya.